Four House Republican lawmakers broke ranks and joined Democrats to force a vote on extending health care subsidies. Those moderate GOP members signed a discharge petition to require a floor vote on extending the tax credits for 3 more years. Now, today's move likely sets up a vote on an ACA extension in early January. One of those defying House Speaker Mike Johnson is New York Republican Mike Lawler. Here's what he said on the takeout just last night on GOP efforts to stop the extension vote.
It's idiotic and it's political malpractice. To me, this is the height of absurdity. It is precisely why things don't get done in this place, because people would rather the upper hand or the issue or the political win rather than the hard work of bipartisan compromise.
Okay, let's go live to Capitol Hill and CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns. Caitlin, thanks for joining us once again today. Can you take us through this break in ranks and what could happen next?
Yeah, Mugo, this is significant news today because you have 4 House Republicans defying the House Speaker Mike Johnson on the issue of health care. If you remember yesterday, the House Speaker said he would not allow an amendment to extend those Obamacare tax subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of the year, so just a couple of weeks from now. House moderates in the Republican conference had wanted a vote on this, and so instead they said, if you're not going to give us an amendment, we're going to go ahead and side with the Democrats here. They signed onto a discharge petition. You may remember this term from the Epstein files. This is a way to force a vote on the House floor if the Speaker doesn't bring one up. And so now it has the necessary signatures needed to force a vote on this. Now, the question is when that vote would occur. It doesn't have to occur this week, even though lots of lawmakers want it to. It could be punted until January. And meanwhile, premiums are already expected to rise, and these subsidies will expire at the end of the year unless extended. But the big news here, Mugo, revolves around the politics. You have these House moderate Republicans from battleground districts. These are districts that Republicans need to keep on their side in order to keep the majority in the House. And these moderates are saying, look, healthcare and the rising cost of healthcare are big issues in their districts. And so that is a signal ahead of the next year's midterms about what may be on the line here. The other thing to note, Mugo, is even if the House ends up voting on this and passing it at some point, it is unlikely to pass in the Senate because just last week, you may remember we were talking about this, the Senate rejected this very same proposal, even though 4 Republicans over there signed on to it. So bottom line, for those wondering whether Congress is going to be able to address health care by the end of the year, it really doesn't seem likely.
Wow. Caitlin, I want to talk about a different topic because Navy Admiral Frank Bradley is briefing the Senate and House committees remotely on U.S. military strikes today. This comes a day after Secretaries Rubio and Hegset's classified briefing. So what exactly can we expect from today's briefing?
Yeah, Mugo, it is so busy up here on Capitol Hill. You not only have that healthcare vote, but also you walk around the halls here. Everybody has something that they need to finish before the end of the year. And this briefing is one of them. This comes at the request of lawmakers who weren't in those other briefings that we saw over the last few weeks, who weren't those top members of the committees that get those briefings. These are broader briefings about that September 2nd strike and the follow-on strike. But Mugo, depending on where you are, depends on your interpretation of those briefings. It's largely falling on party lines. Take a listen to 2 senators who came out of those briefings with 2 very different reactions.
This just confirms what I said yesterday, that the processes we're using to find, fix, and finish these terrorists are the same processes we've been using across multiple combatant commands, geographies all over the world.
We were able to see portions of the video. I believe there are hours and hours, obviously before and after both strikes. The Admiral was very candid with us. I appreciate that. But what I can say, it's deeply disturbing. And what I will say, without revealing anything that happened in the classified briefing, I have deep, deep concerns about why the second strike was.
So, Mugo, even without the qualifiers, you can imagine which parties those two separate senators
Yeah.
represent. The bigger picture here, though, Mugo, is beyond this particular strike, is the question of what the administration's policy is towards Venezuela. Is it simply interdiction of those drugs on those alleged drug boats, or is it a broader policy of potential regime change when it comes to Maduro? These are questions not only Democrats have, but Republicans do as well. I mean, Lindsey Graham, who you know is a staunch ally of President Trump, said yesterday after his briefing that he did have questions about what the next steps are in the policy and that those weren't yet adequately addressed by the administration yet. If the policy is regime change, which so far they haven't outlined that, but if it is, what comes next? And those are the questions that remain beyond the significance of that first strike on September 2nd.
We'll see if we learn more. Caitlin Huey-Burns on Capitol Hill for us today. Thank you so much.